Happy Sunday, all you mentees! This is the Uncanny Omar, and join me today for your advanced look at the latest printing of the War of the Realm Omnibus from Marvel Comics. Let's get started! Before getting started, a huge thank you to David Gabriel and the folks at Marvel for sending us an advanced copy of this Omnibus. This Omnibus is due out in the direct market and book market on April 12th. And what we're looking at here is the Arthur Adams direct market cover. On the left-hand side is the original printing with the Russell Dauterman cover, and this is for the standard edition. Now, it's not just the cover that is different, but also the spine. And you have Thor down here, and you have Malekith on the direct market. And also the direct market looks a little bit lighter. I don't know if that was in the original, or if that's just the new printing. This actually looks more of a brownish instead of a reddish tint to it, like this. This has more of a darker reddish tint to it. But then again, the Marvel logo is a little brighter here than it is here in the latest printing. The back of the book is identical. You have this image here from Arthur Adams, and the book retails for $125. Now, it looks like they are using the same font. It just pops out a little bit more because this is darker than that right there. But underneath, they are identical. So you have the map right there of the 10 realms that are coming together to destroy Midgard. Now, we are going to talk a little bit about the story and where this takes place and the reading order of Jason Aaron's Thor. So let's go ahead and get started, look at the artwork, and again, without going into too many spoilers or any big spoilers, let's talk about the story. All right, let's get this opened. Now, it's been over a year, but I've done an overview of the original printing. So I don't go back and watch my old videos. I have no idea what I said, so I hope this one's a little bit different. I am going to do a comparison to the original printing here in a little bit. Here are all the issues that are collected in here, including the creators that worked on each of these issues. You have the pencilers, the inkers, the colorists, letterers, and of course the writers, and more of that, and who were editors at the time. This is a quick recap as to what's happened previously that is leading up to this, because there's a lot that leads up to this. So this kicks off with Thor number 8. Now, this is the Thor series from 2018. I know it's been relaunched a few times, so this doesn't go directly right after the Jason Aaron Thor Omnibus. You gotta read a little bit more of those issues to get here. So this collects Thor from the 2018 series 8 through 16. So let's look through here. This is Mike Del Mundo providing the artwork. This also, of course, collects the miniseries, the event, War of the Realms, issues 1 through 6, War of the Realms Omega, War Scrolls 1, 2, and 3, Strike Force, The Land of Giants, which is an amazing one-shot, War of the Realms, Strike Force, The Dark Elf Realm, Strike Force, The War Avengers, and we'll talk a little bit about that in a second and how it's mapped out. The Giant Man miniseries, Journey into Mystery 1 through 5, Spider-Man and the League of the Realms, the 3-issue miniseries, The Punisher, War of the Realm miniseries, the Uncanny X-Men 3-issue miniseries, New Agents of Atlas, that was 4 issues, all of them collected in here. The Guardians of the Galaxy, the final 3 issues, 8, 9, and 10, are collected in here. Tony Stark Iron Man, that's the 2018 series by Dan Slott, 12 and 13. Venom 13 through 15, and if you have the oversized hardcovers of Venom by Donny Cates, those issues are not collected in there because they're not written by Donny Cates or affect the overall story that he was writing. Avengers 18 through 20, Captain Marvel 6 and 7, Champions 5 and 6, Deadpool 13 and 14, Fantastic Four number 10, Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur 43, Superior Spider-Man 7 through 8, and The Unbeatable Squirrel Girl 43 through 46. This is a huge book. We are talking 1,576 pages. I believe up until Avengers vs. X-Men, this is the biggest Marvel omnibus. And like I said, I'm going to compare it to the original printing here in a little bit. But let's talk about the story. So this has been building up pretty much since the first issue of Thor by Jason Aaron. You have the return of the Dark Elf, Malekith, and how he is building this strike force, if you will, of all these villains across the 10 realms to come and destroy Odin and all his family in Asgard. And that's pretty much where the issues of Thor lead into. They lead into Malekith gathering his forces finally after years of just putting them together and allying himself with all these evil characters like the Minotaur, Curse, Ulick, the Enchantress, and that awesome freaking tiger. But he is finally gathering the forces to make a move. Now, not only does he want Asgard, but he also wants to come and rule over Midgard, which is what we call Earth. And that's his main plan with all his arch nemesis. So we kick off with the first issue we have this character right here of Loki coming to Thor saying, hey, Malekith is back, I'm going to take you to him. Turns out that it wasn't Loki. Again, not big of a spoiler, but it turned out to be Malekith, the accursed. And now he is back with a vengeance, and all his forces are taking on Thor. So the story pretty much goes from there. Thor goes missing. We don't know where Thor is. Now we have the superheroes of Midgard, the Avengers, and other characters like the Punisher and Wolverine, the X-Men, all dealing with these just magical forces coming and attacking the Earth. And some of them, like the Dark Witches, are taking away Doctor Strange's powers. So everybody is affected by this. So this became, I don't know if it was always the plan to make it a Marvel event, but it definitely became one. It could have started as just a Thor event, but eventually it evolved into this. Now, there are plenty of deaths in here, not just of superheroes, but also supervillains. The artwork for the 6-issue miniseries is supplied by the phenomenal Russell Dodderman. Oh my gosh, he's an amazing artist who was drawing Thor before he started doing this. And then Mike Del Mundo took over Thor. And of course, before that, it was Azad Rebic. Thor was very blessed with the artistic teams that would come after one another. Now, after a certain death in this miniseries, the teams get scattered about, so it's time to come together. And this plays an important role for the other miniseries that are collected in here. So Frigga asks Captain America to assemble a group to go and rescue Thor. So we get up to like 4 different teams that are split up through here. Like Daredevil ends up taking Heimdall's sword, and he's trying to help fix the Bifrost Bridge. Because you see, the villains are using a dark Bifrost Bridge to get their forces to Midgard and Asgard, and then they've cut off the original Bifrost Bridge. And if you're not familiar with that, it's that rainbow-colored bridge in the comics, Technicolor, rainbow color in the movies. So it's up to Daredevil and a couple of other characters to stand guard on that bridge and make sure it doesn't collapse, the newly reformed Bifrost Bridge. And then we have Frigga actually forming her own team of, I think it's Blade and She-Hulk and Ghost Rider. Oh, Punisher. They're going to pretend to be some of Malekith's forces because they're going to go and destroy that dark Bifrost Bridge I was just talking about. Then Captain Marvel's set to Earth to go and form her own War Avengers, and they have to go and deal with Malekith and all his forces. So that's pretty much how the characters are split up. This is how some of the covers are collected in thumbnail sizes, and we'll get to the extras in a little bit. So the stakes are high. You know, Thor's missing, characters are dying. What the hell is happening? How can they survive this? And you can find out for yourself how this all works out. Whether the good guys win or the bad guys win. Pretty sure if you've read comics, you know where this is going. Now, the way this is mapped. Some people have issues with, some people love it, some people think it's perfect, some people think, oh, they could have used more in between. So what I mean that is, anytime there's an event that doesn't have a part 1, part 2, you must go read this issue next before coming back here next month. You always have a decision to make, how to read these stories. Now, I've talked about Flashpoint, and how they included 17 issues sometimes in between the events. And to me, my personal view on that is that is a little too much. Because if I wanted to read 17 issues in between the main event, like say issues 4 and 5 of War of the Realms or 4 and 5 of Flashpoint, then that is just like reading it monthly. There's a reason why collected editions are collected and try to give you the best reading experience. Now, what they stuck in between some of the issues of War of the Realm are the Thor issues. But I wish they had included other things. So I'm kind of a halfway in between guy. I wish it had more in between. I wish it had the War Scrolls in here, because that was very important to see what happens to a particular character. Or maybe an issue of As Guardians of the Galaxy to see how characters deal with a certain fallen member of the team. Or put some of the miniseries in here that have Frigga when she divides the teams up. But what they did was put, like I said, the issues of Thor at the very beginning that lead into War of the Realms, the War of the Realms miniseries. I'm going to skip a bunch here so you're not spoiled. And then you have a couple of issues of Thor in between, and then everything else, the stories that took place during the event, are all collected here in the back. Of course, when you're reading the Punisher mini, you're just going to read the Punisher miniseries. There's not an issue of X-Men in between to read that. You're just going to read what the Punisher and his team were up to during this particular time. If you're going to read issue of the Avengers here, you're just going to read those 3 issues of the Avengers that are collected in here, all in chronological order. No issues in between. That's the way the book is mapped. Like I said, I'm a guy that feels like there has to be a middle ground, because there are some stories that are very important and add to the surprise. Without going into spoilers, there's a specific death in here that gets resolved in the pages of another comic. The character comes back, but in the actual event, the character just pops back up, and you're like, wait, how did that character return? I thought that character was off limits. They were dead. What happened? It's not until you read the miniseries, the issues of another comic that you get to find out exactly how they return. So that's pretty much how this is mapped out. But it is a huge book. Like I said, I don't think I would have enjoyed every single miniseries in between issues. And just like every event, some of the miniseries and some of the crossovers are hit. Some of them are a huge miss. Some of them are freaking awesome. And how is nobody talking about Giant Man? I really enjoy that. So let's talk about Giant Man really quick. That's just going to be one of the stories I'm going to be talking about. Punisher, by the way, if you've not read it, is freaking awesome. He takes a bus full of convicts and goes up against the forces of Malachi. Oh, so awesome. Let's talk about this. I love these issues. They are great. So you have Giant Man, but there's 4 of them. You have Scott Lang, you have Ras Malhotra, who was first introduced in the pages of Nick Spencer's run of Ant-Man. You have Tom Foster there, who is now going as Goliath. Actually, Ras is the only one that's going as Giant Man in this, and Scott is still Ant-Man. And then you have Atlas here, Eric Justin, who was a part of the Thunderbolts. So this was such a awesome miniseries, because what they do is they paint themselves blue, and they pretend to be frost giants. And the entire miniseries is just about that. So it's a lot of fun. I think, the creators behind it just had a lot of fun with it. So some of them are funny. Some of them are like, holy crap, how are the good guys going to get away with this? Some of them are used to kill off more X-Men. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Some of them are used to introduce new characters in a new team that will go on to other miniseries. And some of those characters actually play a bigger role now in the Marvel Comics. But there's the Squirrel Girl issues towards the end here. But let's look at the Venom issues, the extras, and how they're collected in the back. Now, you saw some of the extras being collected in between the issues. But here are others with thumbnails. Like I said, the book is already over 1,500 pages. It's a huge book. So to give each one of those covers a splash page would have been near impossible. It would have made this book about 200 more pages. Man, that would have been a big omnibus. Here's some character sketches. Now, as far as the binding, the book is sewn binding. Got to be careful, make sure I don't go through any spoilers here. It has a giant eye. So you probably saw when I was reading this, that's exactly what you need with something this big. Something that lays over really nice towards the very beginning or towards the very back. The spread pages look great through here. Very minimal gutter loss. I love maps. Let me see if I can find a better action. Yeah, this is the kind of artwork you're going to see in here. Some beautiful pages by Russell Dodderman, just drawing his heart out. As far as the paper, though, it seems as thick as the first printing. There's no change in paper. Let's do a couple of comparisons here. just to focus on the art and the colors. This is the new printing on the right and the original printing here on the left. I don't see any difference at all in the shading, in the tones of the colors. Nothing really pops out more. They look identical. Let's use this amazing image right here. I love that image with the Avengers Assemble and just the bad guys coming through. What a freaking awesome image. But looks identical. Even the way the book lays over, honestly, feels the same. So even the way the book folds over is identical to the first printing. But that, as they say, is that. By the way, if for some reason you do have two printings and you want to know what your original printing was, all you got to do is just look at the bottom of where it was printed, and it tells you the actual printed date at the bottom here. So just in case, I don't know why in the world you would be buying two copies and you're going to keep the latest printing or whatever, but yeah, both of them printed at the Donnelly printer. Now that, as they say, is that. If you're interested in purchasing this book, don't forget to check out our sponsor, cheapgraphicnovels.com, your online home for graphic novels and collected editions up to 50% off cover price. They have excellent shipping and prompt and helpful service. Check out their bargain deals for up to 90% off cover price. And don't forget that CGN also takes pre-orders. That way you don't miss out on the hottest releases. And they are currently running a special promotion for you Minties. If you're a first-time customer, after receiving your order confirmation email, reply back to that email and let them know Near Mint Condition sent you their way. They will then apply a free shipping promotional credit to your next order in the US. Cheap Graphic Novels, your source for the hottest books with the kind of deep discount, quality shipping, and customer service that will keep you coming back for more. And that was the content, the page count, and build of this latest printing. Let me know in the comments down below if you've missed it in the past and you weren't able to get it and now's your chance to get it. If you're hoping that they include the War of the Realms miniseries in the Thor by Jason Aaron Omnibus Volume 2. And again, I'd like to remind people that has not been officially announced or even rumored at. Just to get that out of the way. If you are going to pick it up, which of the covers you're going to go for? If you've read it, what did you think of the story? If you have any questions, leave your questions down below. This was the Uncanny Omar. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to smash that like button. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. Ring that bell for notifications to let you know when our videos are going live. We are on Spreadshop and Patreon. Amazing ways to support the channel if you can do so. And thank you so much to our existing patrons. Could not be making videos like this without you all. So thank you not only to the people on the end credits here, but all of our Patreons, whether you're new or old. And more importantly, all of you out there, stay healthy and safe. Much love.